I'm Dan Farber, Editor-in-Chief of CBSNews.com, and welcome to Econwatch, which is our weekly look ahead at what's going on with money and finance. And I'm joined by Money Watch's Editor-at-Large and extraordinaire, Jill Schlesinger. So Jill, it's Monday, October 5. What do we have to look forward to this week?
All this week we are looking at earnings, and earnings season is going to kick off on Wednesday with Alcoa. And what we're really trying to determine is whether companies can actually make money not by cutting costs and laying off employees, but by actually increasing sales. That would be pretty heartening, and it would be a great sign that the economy is turning a corner.
Now, when you talk about signs of the economy turning the corner, we've heard a lot from Geithner, from Bernanke, from all the people in the power belt that there are green shoots that things are turning around. But this earnings season is really going to tell the tale.
Absolutely. And you know what's interesting about that is that when they first started talking about green shoots, there were not that many green shoots. There were some little brown nubs maybe. But now we have seen in the last 6 months that the economic news has gotten less worse, not necessarily better. But that's the right trend. Less worse might eventually lead to better. This earnings season, very important because investors have bought stocks in advance of this season, expecting that companies can actually make money. And unless they do, we could see a pretty spooky October. And it's been somewhat of a spooky month in the past.
Now, traditionally, October is a spooky month for the markets.
Absolutely. And you know, if you look at it, two big one-day crashes, 1929, 1987. Last year, the market fell by 15% in October. First two trading sessions of this year down. I'm not expecting it to be as spooky a month, but I think everyone does get a little bit anxious. Well, you know, it's the monthly thing.
Now, I wanted to spend a little bit of time, over the weekend, I think we both saw at different times, Michael Moore's movie, Capitalism, A Love Story. Now, certainly he's not in love with capitalism because he equates capitalism with what is wrong with the country. I thought the movie was very one-sided, and that he gives his tale, which is everything that the government's doing is bad and they've stolen our money and he wants the money back. I think it's a little more nuanced, of course, which is that the government came to a crisis. They decided, well, unless we do something, it's going to crumble. So instead of letting it crumble, and who knows if that's actually the case, it's very complex, they infused all this money into these cannot fail companies. Now, my question to you is, and there was a report today that, according to a special inspector, who said that the banks that were said to be healthy really weren't that healthy.
And you know what I might take away from that is this is Neil Barshofsky. He's the Special Inspector General. And if you want to sound cool at a coffee table or at the bar tonight, say the SIG TARP when you talk about this story. The SIG TARP said that Hank Paulson may have stretched the truth a little bit. The reality is that when Hank Paulson got up and started testifying about TARP, he said these first 9 companies that we're infusing money into, they're all healthy. And now we know a year later that wasn't exactly the case. Specifically, Citigroup was on life support. Bank of America was close behind. And I think the Special Inspector General is now taking Paulson and some of the other folks to task for not exactly giving the American people the whole story.
Well, not only they didn't give the American people the whole story, but we don't know where the money, that $700 billion, where it is today. And have those banks gone back to their old behavior?
Okay, 2 things. One is we know where some of the money is because some of those banks repaid the money, right? So we know that we got some money
And
back.
why did they repay the money?
So they wouldn't have to have any compensation structure imposed upon them by the government. Is that
so
good?
no handcuffs.
No handcuffs. But I want to be clear. The TARP document didn't allow the government to go in and see how that money was being spent. So they're not doing anything wrong. The government really made a big boo-boo last year. They didn't put in a facility to go in and monitor exactly where those dollars went.
Now this week, there are a couple of hearings.
Yep.
Will these put us on the road to solving that accountability problem?
You would love to think so. I don't think that's going to happen. I think regulatory reform has really fallen off the agenda. Healthcare has really started to take center stage. And when we see them talk about financial regulatory reform right now, it is a watered down version of what is likely necessary to make true substantive changes. That's the shame of what happened over the past year.
Well, thank you, Jill, for that great outlook.
Thank you, Dan.
You've been watching Econwatch, and I've been speaking with Jill Schlesinger, the editor-at-large at moneywatch.com. For CBSNews.com, I'm Dan Farber. Thanks for watching.